Yeah, hi, so, International Collaboration Day.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Stefan. So hello everyone. Welcome to the ICollDay International Collaboration Day Periscope chat. So happy ICollDay, everybody.
Yes, happy ICollDay.
And thanks for joining us. So Father IColl in the end. We have some really cool guests here actually with us. So hopefully we'll get some really cool conversation going. So some actual collaboration.
Yes, definitely.
Should we start just by going around?
Yeah, just a quick intro. Steph, do you want to?
Yeah, hi, I'm Stefan. I'm the author of Business Networking for Dummies, and I've been coming to Outwork Hubs and learning about collaboration and co-working for a couple of years. I'm trying to look at each different camera.
It's a straight line.
But there's my book.
Buy my stuff.
Buy my stuff. I'm here.
I'm Sujan and I run a company called the Carver Group. We have a packaging company, a stationery business, and we also have a digital marketing and web agency that focus more on content marketing as well. We're based out of Work Hubs, and we've been here for a while now and enjoying the sort of benefits we're getting out of being in a collaborative space rather than our own office.
Very definitely something we'll touch on later. So I'm Neil Brook, collaborator in chief at ICollDay, co-founder with Phil Dodson, and I'm sure Father IColl will explain more about International Collaboration Day and what it does. I love that term. This is genuinely what it's about. Actually, just people sharing their thoughts, ideas, concepts, and actually supporting each other to make things better than they are when you're on your own. So.
This real urge to giggle. Live.
Thanks.
I'm Debbie Huxton. I'm a business coach and I work with business owners up and down the UK, helping them gain emotional and business mastery. I'm also the author of this little book, #BuyMyStuff. But more importantly, I'm here today because I work very closely with Phil as we launch the Big Wisdom project, and I'm really interested to know more about the sharing economy, but I'm a big one for collaboration. So,
thank you. Hi, Phil Dodson, co-founder with Neil of International Collaboration Day. Just a brief one about what that is. So International Collaboration Day is a global event day to really encourage, promote co-working, collaboration, the sharing economy, to get people out of their homes, get people out of the coffee shops, get people into communities like this where you can share ideas, collaborate with others, network and grow your business and be part of something rather than isolated on your own, stuck at home. I also happen to run Outwork Hubs as well, which is a lovely co-working space, the #1 co-working space in Euston Street. It is, because it's the only one, and that's it. So Neil, I'll hand you back.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. We now have this International Collaboration Day, but I think people still ask the question, and it's probably quite reasonable. What do we mean by collaboration? So from each of you, it'd be good to know just what collaboration is for you.
Do you want me to kick off?
Yeah.
Okay, so collaboration for me is about realising that in life, none of us are perfect or brilliant at everything that we do. It's taken me a long time to work that one out, but
congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And it's about realising that actually we're all better off as human beings being around other people, because a lot of people, if you look at the rise of self-employment now, it's predicted within the next 5 to 7 years that 50% of the developed world will be self-employed in some way, shape or form. They used to be in paid-for employment jobs in businesses with people around them, a support network and people to talk to and things like that. And what's happened for a lot of those people is they've now become working from home, working in a coffee shop, isolated, cut off, missing out on the buzz of being around other people. So for collaboration for me is actually being smart enough to realise that there's other people around you that can actually make your idea better and bigger and help you to realise your dream that much quicker. Because I think, the past old school mentality was very much, well, it's my idea, I couldn't possibly tell you that because I'm going to be the next Google. Well, we're not all going to be the next Google, so it's best to kind of get other people involved in our ideas, our dreams, think out loud in a community of other people and share those ideas, because there's bound to be people there who can enhance those ideas, improve those ideas, make it better for you, help you, teach you, whatever. And that, for me, what is collaboration is about. It's not about forming companies with people, selling, sharing your business with them. It's about working with them, collaborating with them, and working together to make your ideas better. At the end of the day, as human beings, we're all designed to be social. We're all designed to be around other people. If you look how human beings first became successful, they became successful because they got themselves into communities of others and they collaborated, they parted, they shared, they traded. And now is the perfect opportunity to bring that back into the world, because the old school world was very much against that, very much stopping that kind of thing of sharing. It was all about annihilate your competitors, annihilate everybody in front of you. This is about actually realising that we can all help each other, and that's what collaboration is for me.
The end. Thanks for the
What he said.
Debbie, any more?
Yeah, I think for me, collaboration is about connection. It's about relationships, because we're moving in a very fast-paced business landscape, and I'm not sure where the hell I'm looking at all of these cameras pointing this way, but we're living in a very fast-paced moving business landscape, and that's shifting now as the economy's moved and our thinking is evolving, that actually we're now in a place where we're looking at relationships as a new source of business income. And collaboration is vitally important, the sharing of our ideas, the pooling of our resources. For instance, when we all arrived here this morning, we were chatting about different apps that we all use and different technology that we all use. Actually, we all use similar things, but some of us use different things, so it's that pooling of ideas and resources where we don't have to go and get banknotes to pay to learn this information. We're actually sharing our wisdom and our ideas, and it's an amazing way of building a business.
All right, Susan.
Yeah, I think the thing that Phil mentioned that struck a chord is that we're all trying to be better, right? We're all social people. Humans are a social creature, and also we always want to be better. And I think in the old days of scaling a business, you recruit people, or so you have people on payroll and all of that kind of stuff. And now that doesn't really exist. So you can actually make your ideas better without having a lot of the cost and the old structures and ways of doing things. And the other thing you mentioned was, it's not about competition anymore. Right? Even in work hubs, I bet there's people that are in the same line of business. They work together rather than against each other, just because it doesn't make sense. And there's enough business out there for everyone. There's more than enough business out there for everyone, so it makes sense to work with people rather than against people. But yeah, definitely we're trying to be better, and working in collaboration with people is a quicker, easier, more cost-effective way of doing that than sometimes scaling and employing people and having other costs and that kind of thing as well.
Definitely.
Going on from what Sush said, someone said to me the other day about LinkedIn that they don't like to connect with someone who does similar things to them, that they try to only connect with people who don't do what they do. And I think coming at it from a networking point of view, there used to be this belief that you were the only person in the room who did what you did and you locked out all of your competition. And I think the world's moved on a lot, that actually, probably in the last one I'm picking up on everyone else's points, but locking out your competition makes you feel like the world is a scarce place, and actually embracing the fact that there are other people in the world who do the same thing as you is accepting the fact that there's enough business for all of us. And I think that's one of the things that collaboration means to me. There are certainly plenty of people in the world who do similar things to me, but actually working alongside them makes us all better. Working alongside them makes the pie bigger, instead of trying to just get your slice of the pie. I think that's what it means to me. This Periscope thing is weird. Just really quick, we are getting a load of really nice comments on Periscope, by the way. Someone has asked in the last couple of minutes, where are all of you? They've probably only just logged in. So we're at Outwork Hubs in London. Yes, the Periscope's all.
Yeah, great.
Should have worn the stickers.
But Stefan, that's great. Keep shouting out the comments.
105A Euston
Street.
Road. Euston
I won't
Street.
shout out all of them.
Finest.
3 minutes walk from.
1 minute walk from Euston Station.
1 minute, depends how you walk there.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, I think that was really interesting in terms of just going around and talking about collaboration, because so much else comes into it. I mean, we kind of broke down into 3 or 4 different sections, going through work, networking, building relationships, trust, being better. And I think all of those are part of this whole collaboration in terms of either outcomes or factors that we need to think about when we are collaborating. So I mean, if we go maybe just to the work aspect, is the definition of work changing? Is work different now than it was, say, prior to the digital revolution really that we're in, and the connectivity that we have now? Do you see that your relationships are changing in that way?
Who are you going to first?
Stefan, I'll
Well,
go back to you
you
first.
don't feel like you're...
You're a bit
Let's
lost.
come at the end this time.
Yeah.
The world of work's definitely changing. I've been lucky enough to be inside a couple of modern universities recently, and the atrium, the cafe spaces in some of the modern universities look a bit like our environment here. They're getting students used to co-working before they leave, and the atrium that I went into at one place, every table in the cafe had power sockets to plug their Chromebooks in and charge their stuff up like I do when I come here. But getting people used to collaborating, getting people used to co-working before they even leave education is getting them ready for the way that I think the world is changing.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the way people are working is changing. Not so much work. I mean, work is still people are providing services or products or what have you. I mean, yeah, okay, things are going more digital, e-commerce, all the rest of it. But work is still essentially work. I think it's the way people are working is different, and just from I know coffee shops are not the ideal environment, but from as low as coffee shops up to co-working spaces, everyone is now understands that people want Wi-Fi and they want a power socket because they'll work from anywhere, anytime with any device. And so in that respect, I think work is definitely changing. The other thing is we had some vacancies for developers, and you'd get CV designers and developers. You get CVs through that people are like, I'm a freelancer, but I'll come on payroll full time, but I want to work from home. I don't want to come to the office. So I'll be your employee and I'll work for you, but I just want to work from wherever I want to work from. And you're like, okay. And it's just showing the change in mindset of staff as well. That it's not a problem. I'll do more than my 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, but I want to do it my way, not come to your office and sit behind your desk and do it your way as well, which was I found really interesting. It wasn't just one person; you're talking like a number of people that are doing that now.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The fact that people are better able now to kind of mix work with their personal lives. This whole work-life balance thing is completely wrong and should never really have been considered as a suitable solution for corporates. You know, we'll let you work and we'll let you live. It's like, well, yeah, I was going to do that anyway. And I think what you're saying is that possibly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that people are more able just to incorporate that work into just living. It's now
there's a company in the States, Zappos, for people might have heard of, that focus a lot on company culture, and they use the phrase work-life integration, not work-life balance, because they're integrated now. It's not a case of one on one side, one on the other. You integrate.
It's the same thing, isn't it? It's not
yeah, it's work-life integration, and it's also a lot easier to manage people's work, like the output now, because of tools where you can see how many hours someone spent on something and what's the output. People are now more focused on the outcome, the output. So I get my banners designed, I get my website designed, I get the code written, I get the blog articles written. As long as I get the output, how it happened doesn't really matter. Rather than, okay, you need to come in at 9 and leave at 5:30 and sit behind your desk and do it. I don't care if you do it between 9 and 5:30 in the daytime or at night, as long as the output is the same. And we're measuring staff on outcomes and output rather than like the traditional old ways of doing stuff. And so yeah, I mean, I don't care when people do work or what they do, as long as the outcome's there, right? The output's there.
And it's helping them be better at what they do.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the other point. Debbie, anything?
Yeah. Well, I just want to add on to the one fact that you said a statement there, which is fabulous. The working mindset, and I think that's the thing that's massively shifted, is the mindset that we approach our work with. You know, huge brands out there now recognising that for them to have the output, for them to have the creative output, that innovation, it comes from values. That's something I'm very big on, and actually it's understanding that those values are what drives the culture, and that all of the people that work for the companies need to be aligned to those values. So we've gone beyond actually looking at psychometric testing. We're now looking at what are the values of a person, how will that align with the company, do the people working in that company actually understand the culture and the environment that's expected of them. There was a great programme on TV a couple of weeks ago which I caught up on online the other night, and it was about Lego. I don't know if anybody saw that, but it actually showed you the culture and the way that their company is driven on values. It was incredible. But also the output comment. Again, you've got companies in America now that recognise when there's deadlines to meet, they will let their workers meet those deadlines, but then they will also give them the time off afterwards when they've put all of that effort in. So it is creating that work-life integration. So there is a massive shift happening at this moment in time.
Definitely. The values thing is a massive thing. It's
Huge. I mean, values are who we are.
Yeah.
And if we're showing up in a job every day not who we are, misaligned to who we are, then we're never going to feel that inner fulfillment.
I think Lalou Frederick Lalou wrote a book, Reinventing Organisations, that was really big on that actually. And you know, there's this thing about corporate values that they end up being a plaque on the wall, or you know, some kind of lovely display in the foyer, but you know, beyond that, they're really not applied. And I think what you're saying is that, you know, it's much deeper than that. That it has to be ingrained in every individual within that organisation. Yeah, maybe something we'll touch upon later as well. But for me, I think
yeah, work has massively changed, I think, and I think it's a fundamental shift in society as a whole. Actually, that you know, the thing used to be is we go to school, you know, we're taught this kind of, or sold this kind of dream. Actually, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to university, you get more good grades, you get a job, you get a career progression, you get a house, you get a mortgage, you get kids, you work until you're 65, you get a retirement pension, and you die. And a lot of people have actually worked out that's a bit of a crock of shit, to be honest, and it's not actually what they want to do anymore. And people are now starting to realise that they can actually fulfil their dreams being self-employed, doing their own thing, no longer actually living somebody else's dream, living their own dream. And that's what's changing the workplace. So you've got a whole generation now completely disconnected to the world that we perhaps, certainly I grew up in. And that's actually fundamentally changing all of it. That's why you're getting freelancers now coming to you saying, actually, I want to work at home. I don't want to sit in your office all day long. I still want to do your job. It sounds interesting, but I also want to do other things in my life and pursue my other things. And that's what's changing the whole landscape. So work now is no longer a place. Right, it's still a place if you work as a nurse in a hospital. But for the vast majority of us, work is no longer a place. It's an activity. And you can do that activity anywhere. And that's where you've got to choose where to do that activity. And that's where all of this kind of where to work comes in, whether it's a coffee shop, home, co-working space, an office, and all those kind of things. So work is fundamentally changing, and it's going to continue to kind of change, I think, faster and faster pace as more and more of us become self-employed. I think it's now something like over 40% of Americans are now freelancers. You know, they're not living that paid-for employment dream anymore. They're not working for somebody else's dream. They're living their own dream. Some of it's been forced to them out of necessity, economic necessity, because there aren't jobs. But a lot of it is now choice. A lot of people are leaving that corporate world and going out on their own and doing their own thing. And it creates a whole different way of which we're going to work. And communities, for me, is the way to do it.
I had a good friend of mine who's a graphic designer, and he had a travelling bug. He'd worked in a number of places in London, whatever, and he's right, I'm off. So he went to South America, he did Asia. Wherever he travelled, he said his cost of living, and that's accommodation, food, going out, everything was 800 quid a month. That was just all it cost. So he was like, well, so I'm happy to work, as long as I make £800 in a month doing my design work from my laptop, sitting wherever I am, then I'm happy. But because of that, he can be cheaper than the other cost of stuff in the market, and I think that is helping people get stuff a lot cheaper and more effective as well. You've got a lot of websites where you can push the job and someone will do it quite cheaply, and he's doing it from the beach.
But that's the great
South
point about
America, right?
happiness.
Yeah, and I think Tim
That's the word. It's people have now realised that actually happiness is more important than other things.
Yeah.
Where before we were taught this thing, well, you get success and then happiness comes. Well, actually people have realised happiness first, then success comes.
Yeah.
So that's affecting how people want to work. Because a lot of work people were miserable trying to chase the success thing.
It's more happy in South America than earning 3 times as much in London. Yeah.
I think it's also recognising that people's values are different. That when I started in the corporate sales world in the early 1990s, you would go around the room and ask what they were driven by, what their goals were, and people wanted a BMW and a big house. And I always felt like I was a little bit out of place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's being recognised, that some people do want to chase that financial success, that's absolutely fine, but equally other people want to build their work around their lifestyle, accepting that they won't earn as much. Gary Vaynerchuk said something about it on Ask Gary V just the other day, accepting that they won't earn as much, but doing the things that actually make them happy along the way.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I feel I fit in now, whereas in a corporate environment I never quite felt that I did, because I felt that everyone else was chasing financial success, and therefore there was almost something wrong with me because that never completely ticked my boxes.
Yeah, that's so true.
But you've got that whole generation there. You see, interestingly, Generation Y will make up 75% of the workforce in 10 to 15 years from now, and they're not aligned to that, chasing the BMWs in the same way and chasing that financial thing. They're much more aligned, increasingly so, to the happiness thing, chasing what they want to do, chasing their own
experiences.
Exactly, and that's what we've got to think about. Is our customers aren't necessarily old people like me at 48. They're people in their 20s, and they don't have the same goals, the same aspirations, and the same drive. And that's what's driving this whole self-employment thing, the whole co-working, sharing economy, all these different things that are happening globally.
I do think we've got a lot of confusion in our Generation Y because they do believe the things that you've just said, but their education system isn't teaching them that.
No,
so
hasn't prepared them for that.
Lots of the young people that I'm working with, aged 18 to 25, are actually increasingly finding they're in an identity crisis. You know, they totally agree with what you're saying, but they've also got this unwritten idea in their head that's been given to them from their education blueprint.
From parents and society.
So we need to do something about that.
Could you just quickly, if you don't mind, I'll do it then. Just a quick shout out for shared co-working in Hamburg.
Oh yeah, hi Hamburg, hi.
I was in Hamburg yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I flew back yesterday.
Oh wow.
We should go and visit them next time.
Yeah.
They're on my Twitter stream. They're obviously watching the Periscope. So
Yeah, they're celebrating ICollDay today.
Yes.
As well.
They are, yeah, we saw that on Twitter.
But I just wanted to say, I just was trying to mention earlier, there's a book that someone's working on the beach, Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Working Week, that talks a lot about how you can streamline your income and actually use a collaborative society.
So in a world where we have this ultra-individualistic recognition that people are going to want to be happy and work from everywhere and everything, is the concept of community still relevant? And it's been touched on a few times here. I have a strong opinion on it, but I think it's one of those questions that that kind of is a consequence of that kind of everybody's different. So why do we need a community anymore?
Can I just say what's on my mind? It's really interesting using that word community, because let's take it out of the work environment and just put it back into the community.
Exactly.
And there was a period of time where housing estates were being built, detached houses on every estate. And actually I've been noticing recently the new housing estates that are being built in that community way. We're going backwards because we've become such an insular society. And how many people bought houses and erected 6-foot fences, shutting out your neighbours? But actually, you're seeing people now change their fence size. I've also noticed that. But how many of us really know our neighbours? We may come out of our driveway and just a quick nod or a wink, but actually, how many of us really know our neighbours? And I think that in itself is shifting, so that the emphasis is coming back onto community. And then if you move that into the workplace, massively. We've got Networking King Stefan over there who will tell you that community is essential to what we're talking about.
it is, and local has changed.
Yes.
So my neighbours are making their fences higher at the moment.
That's because you live in Oxfordshire, though.
I think local has changed massively. What we consider to be local now is just as likely to be our online tribe, and actually meeting up like this, where I keep in touch with you guys daily.
Yeah.
And yet we don't see each other daily, but there's a feeling of community, and there's so much criticism of social, particularly, that it's stopping people forming community. But I actually think it enables it.
Breaks down boundaries.
It does.
Yeah.
And then you've got, we're chatting to the guys in Hamburg. We're that community still very much exists. But I think what's local has become very different. It used to be our village, it used to be our town, it used to be our detached house with the 7-foot fences around it. But now I think that community is perhaps in a much more diverse space, but you can still engage with that community if you're sat here in... if anyone can hear me. You can still engage with that community, even if you're sat here in Euston and the guys are over in Hamburg. I think that's what's changed. The community's still
That's
important.
exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly exciting. The community's still important. Just the definition of how that's put together, I think, has changed hugely.
Yeah, I mean, I've got endless opinions on this one. For me, part of my desire to actually do an International Collaboration Day and co-working is my desire to actually put something back into the world, to actually change that. I've grown up, as a lot of us have, in a world that's all been very much me orientated, very much orientated around money, about the individual. And I think that we all need to take a step back to where the human race actually started out, and that is in communities, that is sharing with other people, that is working with other people, and helping people genuinely for no personal gain. Random acts of kindness actually make you feel happier, so it's a good thing to do anyway for yourself. But beyond that, it's good for everybody, and I think that that's such a powerful thing that needs to come back into the world. It's not about work, it's not about him. We all live in a community, whether it's the community we work in or the community around us at home. And actually, yeah, social media has been a fantastic way, being a catalyst for making new relationships. But we do need to focus on our own local communities, our own people around us, helping people around us, whether it's your neighbour, whether it's someone in your street or whatever. And I think there's a lot of focus needs to be put back into that. And that's why I think, you know, for example, co-working spaces can be a massive catalyst for that, because if you put a co-working street into each high street, each village, each town, places like that, it draws people out of their houses, out of their kind of insular bunkers with their high fences, and gets them to meet people. And just not for the sake of even doing business, just to meet someone, have a chat with someone, feel better about yourself, share ideas and whatever. And as a human race, we'd all be much better off to have that. There'd be less disputes, there'd be less anger, there'd be less judgmental stuff if we all knew each other a bit better. Ordinary people wouldn't create wars, ordinary people wouldn't do the things that some of the people at the elite do, because they're not part of that community that we all live in. And that's what we need to create, is communities again, people working and living together and sharing.
It's that togetherness, isn't it?
Yes.
And actually, isn't it sad that I don't know if it's across the country, but I do know in Birmingham they've just started a project called the Loneliness Project. That like 1 in 3 of us is actually lonely, genuinely lonely. And I find that really sad, that actually there are people out there that are genuinely lonely. So today I think we should all reach out and make sure that we check that the people that we're spending our lives with are not lonely.
And happens a lot with freelancers too. I mean, that feeling of isolation, that
a lot of depression amongst entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So I mean, on that, so we probably need to explain more, or talk about co-working, what it is, why it's different, and you're definitely the man for that. Obviously, bringing up.
Yeah, I think co-working it's almost like the third place, not in the third place, but it's the third place. It's an alternative because, as we talked about before, a lot of people are faced with where to work now. Working at home, I mean, we've all done our stints of home working, and it can be the odd days here and there can be very productive. You get yourself shut away and you concentrate on things, but long protracted periods of home working are not good for the soul. You feel a bit isolated, a bit cut off, and then gradually you get distracted. And you like me, I'm on PlayStation or Netflix, Calorian. Well, I do that here as well. So you get distracted by the home environment, but most importantly, you miss out on all of this. I see guys here all talking to each other from different businesses, even if it's just sharing a chat over a cup of coffee or whatever. But it's starting. People are doing business here together. They're helping each other out. These guys are filming us today, for example, and doing other things for other members here already, and they've only just come here. And I think that's what co-working. It starts that community. But co-working isn't about providing a desk, because you want a desk. There's McDonald's, there's Starbucks, there's the British Library. What co-working is about, and that's what ICollDay is about. It's about people. It's about people connecting. It's about networking. It's about growing. It's about being around others, sharing ideas, and all of that. And that's what, for me, that whole co-working movement is about globally. And we see that, from previous ICollDays, how it brings people together, it gets people to do things. So co-working gives people the flexibility of choice, almost liberates the way they can work. Instead of being a fixed desk for a fixed period of time, or a fixed lease, or being fixed at home or whatever, it gives them the freedom to work when they want to work, talk to whoever they want to work, network with whoever they want to. Well, it's a bit like networking in itself. Only a longer period of networking, because you can continue to network all day long. And that, for me, is what co-working is about. It's about people. It's not about desks. It's not about it's about jelly beans, probably, biscuits, but it's not about desks, it's not about meeting space, it's not about that, it's about people, it's about connecting people and creating communities, and hopefully that's what co-working is becoming everywhere. And that's why, if you think about when we first started, the idea about ICollDay was really recognising that a lot of people came to co-working spaces and put their headphones on and tapped away all day long, and then they went home, and you think, well, right, so stay at home, because you're missing the whole point of why you're coming here. Now, that doesn't mean we sit and chat all day long, but you've got to talk to people, you've got to connect with people, you've got to interact and be part of that, and make the effort to be part of that. And that, that thing is co-working.
You look at the examples of some of the events that actually have been run today. So the event in Australia, people bringing plates, solving problems together. I think to some extent, going back to the being better, these kind of spaces help when you're slightly more vulnerable about what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. If you're open and honest about actually, this is where I'm trying to get to, and these are the things I'm struggling on, these kind of places really come into their own, because you have expertise and different perspectives from really varied sectors, work streams, backgrounds, environments, and all of that is incredibly valuable. So
I think there's the people thing is the biggest thing, because if you're talking about putting 10 freelancers in a room and then different people need different help with different things and they've all got different skill sets, you could find, there's job boards where you can post stuff, and there's online collaboration kind of tools where people can meet other people that can help them or whatever. And you can have 1,000 people in an online community or 10 people in a room, and I guarantee you'll get better responses, help, or relationships from the 10 people in the room. And so it's about actually being face to face with someone rather than being. And don't get me wrong, the online kind of tools that we have for finding freelancers and stuff have their place as well, because.
But then a catalyst, aren't they, for the kind of the relationship?
But I mean, you'll get more out of a 20-minute conversation from someone or just floating around the room and having 2 minutes with 10 people than you could ever online. So back to the people thing, it is people and it's face to face with people.
Just looking at the whiteboard. That's what I'm looking over there. Give solutions. I don't know who asked that, but it was someone on one of them.
Mr. Name, yeah.
Yeah, we missed a name, that's okay, but someone said give solutions.
Debbie looks bored.
I'm not, and it does also say Debbie looks bored. Yeah, and I was on Twitter for a good bit of that.
Is that you that put that?
It's Thomas.
I'm actually sat here trolling the other four of you whilst I'm sat here. No,
Steph looks really good.
I'm trying to behave.
In my trolling account.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I know.
I think the solution is co-working and collaboration, actually. I'm not sure, someone's saying give solutions, but I don't know what problem they're asking for solutions for, but that's fine, I can talk about it. But that isolation, well, actually networking, collaboration, co-working, that solves that. Bringing community back together, as was just said. There is the online community, but actually you can't squeeze an onion online. You need to meet people. The expression "you can't squeeze an onion online" came from a good friend of mine. You still have to go to supermarkets to look at the fruit, to look at the vegetables. You still have to meet with your collaborators. You still have to actually chat to people. And I think that's one of the solutions. I think that's the solution that they're looking for. Something that Philip said earlier on, which I've already written down and I've tweeted, that thing about that's how humans started was actually by collaborating, because one guy could have gone and killed an animal to eat for food and kept it all to himself, but actually he couldn't kill that animal all by himself, so he needed to collaborate with the other guys. And I think that's natural, that's what we all do. That's the best solution I can come up with. I don't know what problem I was given a solution to. Or is it a solution to Debbie looking forward?
Yeah,
That's my concept.
Tickle Debbie.
How do you rate Debbie up? No, actually. But I think to some extent we are still missing a trick or two in the fact that we haven't necessarily scaled what we're doing in these places, the meeting face to face, to cross borders, to break down, some of the challenges that we've already solved through social media, and the fact that we can see other people's kittens. Sorry, that was inappropriate.
That's where my mind went as well.
Thanks, guys. But when we come back to this work aspect and the co-working, I think there really is the potential to scale co-working in understanding projects, intentions, values of people in different spaces, globally. And I think International Collaboration Day to some extent is set up to try and help with that. As a solution, I think that's one possibility.
I think it also goes back to something you mentioned earlier about interviewing and freelancers and everything. Previously the world had been set up so you just had interviewing people from CVs. We all know most CVs. So I think we need to start developing a system where we actually start looking at people's values what they are as a person first, rather than what it says on their CV. And I think that goes back to changing the whole mindset about work, about business, about companies, about life in general. We all start to live our life by our values, run our businesses by our values, treat others by our values, and stuff like that. And then start to look at how we select people to work with. You know, I've learned this from working with Debbie. You know, is choosing the right people to work with and collaborate is so important. And what tends to happen is people advertise a project or advertise something out there, or they look for staff, but they don't. And I know you put that into your business about your values in your business and stuff. And it's so important for people to understand, because then they can select or deselect themselves when they know. And a lot of the challenges that are in the world is because people are misaligned and they get into things. And I've done it many, many times, working with the wrong people or doing the wrong things. And I think hopefully that's what collaboration can do, and co-working can do, is give people it gives people a canvas in which to put their values out there and tell the world about what they stand for and who they are, and then they can attract the other like-minded kind of people.
Well, that focus on values actually really helps break one of the major challenges, which is trust in these kind of relationships. So you're looking at remote relationships. Is how do you build trust and faith in each other, that your intentions are genuine, that what you're trying to do will be done in the right way, either for that organisation or company or for what you're trying to achieve. And by working first with values, that really helps kind of cement that trust between individuals. And then beyond that can help cement trust between individuals and established organisations, potentially even corporates. And I think there's another huge barrier there in this chasm between the global multinational organisations and individual freelancers, because very much those corporations are still focused on that competition element for the most part, and really what we need to encourage is a way that interaction can occur much more fluidly between organisations and freelancers and individuals.
When we're talking about community, I think one thing that's changed is, the thing is you can't choose your neighbours, right? You buy a house and they're just there. But naturally, if you have more in common with the members of your community, you'll feel more involved and you'll get more involved with it. So online communities mean that we can go and find people that have the same mindset and same interests and what have you as us. And that's why they end up becoming stronger and you gravitate to them, because you have something in common with them. I think we've become, human beings have become more and more and more unique. In the old days we were much more similar to each other, but I think now people are much more unique in themselves. If you come to a place just by virtue of having a desk in a co-working space, there's certain assumptions you can make about someone, because they've chosen to be here rather than be in a coffee shop or at home or what have you with their headphones on. And that's why you're talking about building trust. Just by going up to anyone here, I know that they've made a choice to be in a co-working space, which means they are interested in, they don't have, okay, this is an open plan space, right? Anyone can come and see anything you have and pick anything up off your desk. Yeah. Therefore, you have to trust everyone else automatically.
Exactly.
You just automatically have to. And I've always been of the philosophy that I'd rather trust someone first and have that trust broken than not trust in the first place.
But we're taught the other way around then.
We are. But just by virtue of people are here and they'll leave stuff out and it's fine and it's a trustworthy one, it means the trust is there from day one. Because you have to trust people to be in an open plan kind of space like this.
Definitely.
And also the fact that people want to talk to other people and communicate and take advantage of the events and that kind of thing. There's certain things that are a given, shared values with people from being in a co-working, so that you can almost assume. Yeah. It's never going to be 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. And that helps to speed up the process of trust, I think, because just by being here, I can make assumptions about other people here that they have certain values that are the same as mine. I mean, the values thing is a completely different conversation that we could have a whole different periscope half a day on. Because obviously, I've always thought that, right, I have my values and our business has certain ways we like to do things. And rather than seeing if someone has the same values as what we have, I'm just looking at their values and saying, will they work with our values? Not try and push our values on anyone, because your values are your own, right? Everyone has their own values. I'm just judging you by your own values. And can I work with them? Can we work? Is there a clash of values as opposed to are they the same? Because I think you'll never find two people with the same values. As long as they can work together rather than
common
clash
values,
each other, yeah, then it's fine.
It's not just trust, I think, and this has been thrown into stark relief for me already this morning. I think it's also the inspiration which you get from the other people around you, because you said something this morning that I've tweeted back at you, and certainly as a blog post for me, and possibly even a chapter for me. But it's gleaning that inspiration from stuff that other people are doing around us, who might have completely unrelated businesses, but actually what little bits about what they're doing that we can learn from, little bits about what you've done at our work hubs has made me think about how I approach networking and how I approach talking about networking. And that's a little bit of trust, because trusting that other people are doing the best for their clients and customers as well, and then thinking through how you can implement what they're doing in your business, or how you can take an idea from another business and how you can craft that into your business. I think that's one of the things that it's meant to me as well. The trust thing's a really interesting one. I think you do build up a picture of people online, and yet I think for most of us who are providing services, you do need to extend that to actually shaking hands with someone, to actually meeting someone, no matter how much we can build up a picture of people online. But yeah, also that inspiration piece is a big one for me.
I think it's difficult at the moment with the trust metrics that we have. And I know there are several companies kind of working on this and a lot further down the road, but the 5-star metrics just don't work when it comes to understanding these kind of relationships.
It's so personal as well, isn't it?
You know, I think
they're trying to make a science out of something that isn't a science.
Yeah, well, I think 4.3 is the average star rating in a 5-star system. So that means, you know, anything anything 4.1 yeah, anything 4.1 or below is not very good. And it's like, you know, are we willing to restrict ourselves in that way?
But I mean,
how are they ever going to prove that though? Because people are surely actually, well, they're going to make themselves out to be trustworthy because they're going to lie to make sure they get a 5-star trust rating. That makes no sense.
I'm always one for when you've got 1 to 5 stars on Amazon or wherever, I'll go and read the 1-star reviews first. I think a lot of people do. Well, they could have 1,000 5-star ratings and 10 1-star ratings, and I'll just go and read the 1 stars first to just find out what the problems were and how they were dealt with, rather than all the 5-star stuff. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people are like that. Maybe people on Periscope will say, "Is that me, or is that common?"
No, I think but that's an interesting. I mean, that's another kind of debate, but it's an interesting shift in how the world works again. You've got that whole connected generation now that look to their networks. Again, it goes back to this trust. They go to their trusted networks. Previously, we'd ask our brother, sister, uncle, aunt what they thought about something. Well, we're never going to do that now, right? And now we never go onto Amazon just blindly click anymore. We go onto Amazon, we read all the reviews, because previously when we blindly click, crap turned up on the doorstep, right? And we had to send it back. Now we don't do that so much. But it's a bit like that, you know, our marketing, we're all going to say we're brilliant. It's about the lying thing and say we're trustworthy. And you know, none of us are going to put we're shit on our website, right? We're all going to put we're brilliant, right? So people discount that now. They actually go to their networks. They go on Ask Twitter, Ask Facebook, read a review, and all those things. But that's again the whole shift in the way the world is looking at things. There's a distrust about corporates and corporations and large businesses and cynical, manipulated sales and marketing activity. There's now more trust in human beings. Look at the networking. Look at networking.
Exactly that Facebook thing is that
you get people putting out questions, don't you? Saying
in groups and stuff. I'm a member of all sorts of odd groups.
You can tell us that later. That's
yeah, offline.
One that I'm a member of is called Babies, or something.
What?
It's to do with kids. I've got little kids. But
okay.
The thing is that people will post questions like, what's the best stroller, or I need this, or what have you, and then they'll get 30 or 40 or 50 replies. But these replies are not from people they know, yet they'll trust the reviews.
We're trusting
people that you don't know.
Because you've got
on
shared
Facebook,
values.
because you've joined this group, which means that you must have
belong
something common to read. And it's interesting. I bet they value those. You do get honest answers.
But the people within that group that you see are responding most, you start to assign a greater weighting in terms of, you know, with their opinions. So you start to build like trusted advisors in certain aspects.
That's it. And another thing, you see, I think the thing that we've missed in society is that actually all of us have this a huge desire to be belonging to something, right?
Well, it's a fundamental psychological
We
need.
like to belong to something. We're happy when we belong to something. And a lot of that's been taken out of society because it became a very individual society. And now people have got this craving to belong to something again, to have something to believe in. And you know, the world has sort of believed in the capitalist religion. We all sort of worship that shrine of money. And people have realised that actually that's not very fulfilling, actually. and they want something more than that, and that's what's missing. And I think that's what co-working, collaboration, networking, all these things are starting to do, is giving someone something to belong to, belonging to for networking. It becomes like someone's surrogate family almost, belonging to a mastermind group. We all look after each other, we all look out, belonging to a hub, a community. It gives people something to belong to, because they've been cast out from the corporate world where they belong to HSBC or Barclays Bank or HMRC, cast out as freelancers, and they suddenly think, shit, it's just me. Who do I belong to now?
And also, that thing about circles within circles, that we're all members of quite a lot of different communities, which might be overlapping, because behind the cameras here we've got quite a lot of for networking members that I'm looking at, but we're also part of, you know, the people that know Philip, the people that know Debbie, the Twitter, Facebook, whatever. These overlapping communities, I think, is really sort of intriguing to me. Just the way that we all interact and different people shift in and out of those communities as well,
that's
over time.
It starts to feel a lot more fluid, doesn't it?
Yep.
And I think that's maybe for me, I mean, we're almost on a wrapping up here, I think, aren't we? But for me, the way I see things going, I think those relationships, those organisational structures, you know, you need those to some extent to achieve certain goals, but they're going to be much more fluid. People will drop in and out of those. People will associate with a goal that they want to see achieved, that they see aligning with their values and contribute to it. And when it no longer does, they will move away. And I just see that, you know, that dynamic movement of people and relationships and skills and ideas really being the way forward.
I think massively what days like today are doing across the world are breaking down barriers. You know, we're moving into a different era completely. It's a different way of thinking. Things that once seemed impossible are now possible. It's a world full of possibilities, and more we're tapping into that. We're understanding that actually there is a lot of potential out there that we can go and we can utilise, and by collaborating, by coming together in groups like this, it is breaking down barriers globally, and that's huge, and that's exciting. So this is my exciting.
We can cross it off now.
So that, you know, it's collaboration without borders, right? It's innovation without borders.
Like
Well, that's one of the values of
those
ICollDay,
things.
isn't it? No borders.
Yeah, no passport required. Well, hey. Brilliant.
That's great. I mean, I think we've more than covered, you know, our Periscope time at least.
Yeah.
There's no doubt more. So
Yes.
much. Yeah.
Down Periscope.
It will do with the weight of comments about our collective boredom or whatever. But we should probably continue this conversation on Twitter. So anybody who wants to use the hashtag ICollDay, we'll keep the conversation going.
ICollDay, ICollDay, short for International Collaboration Day. So please tweet out.
Father Icoll.
Yeah, no, thank you. So yeah, please tweet stuff about ICollDay all day today and join in. Look at our website ICollDay.com for more information. Just a little bit about how ICollDay is going to develop. We're looking to not just have global event days going forward, we're looking to have regular events, regular updates. We're also putting together a directory of co-working spaces, a directory of freelancers and self-employed or anybody who wants to join in on that directory, and then ultimately we're looking to bring projects into that as well. So we're creating a platform that will put together projects, people and spaces all together so we can all collaborate better. So look out for more updates and news on that. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap, yeah.
Phil, would you see your T-shirt, please? Lovely, because people have been commenting that they think you fuck the world, not us.
It's the beard, though.
So obviously give these guys a huge shout out.